on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here with your Crown Jewel 2024 preview. And yes, I don't have Jake with me tonight, which means two things. We're about to find out how badly I need a co-host, and you have to look at my pretty sexy face. But the Gimmick Hat is back, so we're all good to go. Crown Jewel. All the typical tag-ons apply here. I did, for one of the first ever one of the first ever Saudi shows, myself and Black Cat Feline way back in the day, we did a really long pod about what we thought about the shows and the political stuff that goes into these shows. So I hope you'll understand. My opinion hasn't really changed. If you choose not to watch this pod, awesome. That's cool. I'll see you next time. If you're choosing not to watch the show, good for you. You're sticking up for your beliefs and whatnot. I'm treating this as just another wrestling show that will bother some people, and it's one of those situations where it's going to bother a couple people, and I am genuinely sorry if it bothers you, whereas normally I don't give a shit. But we got some stuff to talk about. As I say, unfortunately Jake's not able to be with me tonight, stuck with just me, so you're going to get me rambling all over the place and trying to haphazardly patch PNGs all over the screen, so you're looking at a little less me and a little more wrestling stuff. Look, there's a Canada flag behind me. Happy Halloween! I'm recording this on Halloween. Just finished trick-or-treaters and all that fun stuff. My neighborhood doesn't get that much, to be perfectly honest with you. If you know the part of Canada that I live in, it won't exactly surprise you. No shade on anybody. Not everybody participates in Halloween. It's fine. I'm a Halloween guy. But I went to Halloween Haunt this year with my nephew, and that was absolutely awesome. And we got some pretty wrestling-related, Halloween-related stuff last weekend with Halloween Havoc and the Fallout on NXT, etc. Now, some house cleaning to get out of the way. I mentioned Jake. Please go check out Jake. Countdown Ended on YouTube. He's going to be doing a live watch-along for the Crown Jewel show. If something absolutely earth-shattering happens on the show, we will do something on it at some point. We also, I don't know which is going to go out first now because I'm going to mess up the timings on the release of these, but Jake and I already recorded our preview for NXT next week in the 2300 arena, the ECW arena, etc. You're going to be watching this on Friday. By the time you guys are watching this, I think both of them will be up anyway, but please check that out as well. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of opinions flying around about the 2300 arena just because it happens to be happening on a Wednesday, and we're going to put the mud show further in the mud. It's fine. The ladies' 10-woman tag is going to rule, and if it's not the main event, I will voice my displeasure on the internet, because that's what we do. So please go check that out. Please check out that preview for that special episode of NXT. It's moved nights. It's moved to Wednesday. Did you hear about that? And they're doing it at the ECW arena. Bully Ray is going to be there, which is annoying a lot of people. Dawn Marie is going to be there, which is annoying a lot of people. Some other people might be there, and that's annoying a lot of people, and people are being just stupid about stuff. Now, Jake and I in the other pod spoke on the Stephanie Vacour situation where she was getting bashed for doing the makeup for Halloween, and, oh, you're trying to knock off Thunder Rosa, until Thunder Rosa herself told you guys to come on, shut up. It's respect between two friends in different companies. It can happen. It's fine. A very, very similar thing happened, touch on it briefly before we get into the show, is AJ Styles was offered a spot in this year's TNA Hall of Fame, opted out of it, was not a part of Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory is another one of those things. Go over to Jake's channel. We did a thoughts and reactions to all of that stuff along with Halloween Havoc, but he was not involved, obviously, because it was, I'm going to forget the guy's name, Bob Ryder, who's no longer with us, as well as Rhino, and that was a lot of fun. He factored into the gauntlet, etc., but AJ Styles turned it down at this point, and people immediately, once again, like the Stephanie Vacour thing, it must be a WWE directive, it must be a Triple H decision. He's trying to keep AJ Styles out of the TNA Hall of Fame. He's trying to keep them out of, trying to keep them from being able to use his name value and rah until he come out and say, yeah, I'm not retired yet. I'm not going into any Hall of Fame until I'm retired. You guys are idiots. And that's it. That's all. What else is people being pissed off about today, this week, this month, this year, this existence? Yeah, the WWE ID program also got announced this week. I I got to get some more details and information because I haven't fully read all the stuff yet. Jake and I kind of touched on it in the NXT thing as well. We'll touch on that more again next week, probably in the state of wrestling and all that kind of thing. Broadly, it looks like a good thing. Obvious people are making obvious arguments, and it's fine. But yeah, I'm not going to touch on it much here. Got to look into it. Got to look up into a few more details of that. Places like Black and Brave, Reality of Wrestling, The Nightmare Factory, they're all going to benefit from it. The people that are there are going to benefit from it. Are there downsides? Sure, possibly. We'll talk about it when we need to talk about it. Crown Jewel! I'm going to stop waffling now because it's just me and I've got nobody to stop me and I keep pulling at my shirt because I'm not used to being on camera. Let's just call it the way it is. 7 matches on the card. Really kind of a bummer that they're choosing a Saudi Arabia show to break out of the very, very constrictive 5-match format. But let's talk about what everybody's talking about. The 6-man tag that we've got. It's the premature version of Bloodline versus Bloodline. It's Roman. It's the Usos taking on the Bloodline. Some combination of Solo, Tama, Tonga, and Jacob. Now this has been spoiled. They put the graphic out this week. It's been spoiled. But guess what? So's what happened tomorrow night on SmackDown. They've reunited because they cost the Guerrillas of Destiny the tag titles for the Motor City Machine Guns, which I think was a lot of fun. Motor City Machine Guns won the Tag Team Championships the same weekend that the Hardy Boys won the TNA Championships, and it made me a very, very happy boy. So what did we do? We cost Jey Uso his Intercontinental Championship, a little bit of tit for tat. Now, I mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. By the time we get to War Games, because we all know that this is what this is going towards, I thought it would be cool to have a bunch of titles on both sides. Having no titles on either side is just as effective. It brought in Jey Uso without Jey Uso just being like, I just forgot everything that happened. Roddy, which is fine. So yeah, the match was spoiled. The reunion on SmackDown was spoiled because the internet exists. Maybe don't do this on a taped episode, but I mean WWE gets it. They're in the internet age, the same as we all are. Roman Reigns, the Usos, taking on 3 of the new bloodline. Now I'm torn because it's going to be Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa for sure. I'm sure somewhere down the line we're going to get the Guerrillas of Destiny versus the Usos, which everybody, including myself, wants to see. Now, I'm torn on how you want to do this because they want to keep Jacob Fatu strong. They don't want him to be on a losing side. They don't even want to see him really taking offense. So could it be Solo and the Tongans and Jacob Fatu in their corner, or do you want to play up the fact that Solo Sikoa isn't really fitting in as this new leader of this new bloodline? Have him seat himself out and let his boys do the dirty work for him. Either way, I'm going to go with the Bloodline 2.0 gets a win, or there's a schmoz, leaning more towards there's a schmoz, because the babyfaces winning sort of cuts this off at the first hurdle, doesn't it? The babyfaces need to be fucked over. They need to be triple teamed, 4-on-3. What would that be? Quadruple teamed. I'm pretty sure this is where you get the introduction of Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn and his ties to the Saudi Arabia shows. That speaks for itself. I'm not going to speak to it because, again, it gets into issues that I'm not 100% educated on, so I won't speak on them. More people should try that. Just saying. So, yeah, pretty sure it's a schmoz, or the heels win. The heels win in a 4-on-3 type of advantage, and it is what it is. Now, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. I've been very vocal for a long time when I think about Bianca Belair. I think we get way too much Bianca Belair on our TV screens, considering, yes, I know it's the makeup of how the belts work. Yes, she and Jade Cargill, they why can't I find my words? They appear on all 3 shows. They appear on the pay-per-view, even when they're not part of the pay-per-view. I've had my fill of Bianca Belair. Jade Cargill's great. She's really great. I know they paired her with Bianca Belair because she's new and because she wanted put her in a tag team scenario where she can come in, she can do her high spots or her power spots, if you want to call it that, and get out and let Bianca, stitch the match together type of thing, which is fair. Bianca's done that. I do want to see Jade Cargill do some solo stuff. And I will reiterate what I said in the NXT thing. The people that are saying they have to hold on to these tag team championships until the breakup before WrestleMania, I get it. structurally from a storytelling point of view, but what it means is a tag team division and a tag team championship that's already under all kinds of scrutiny by all the bad faith grifters out there are going to have something to talk about now, because you're holding hostage a tag team title for the purposes of a solo story. Now, they've gone across all three brands, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. They've found competitors in all three brands. All the GMs got together and basically said, yeah, one set of competing teams from each brand. So we've got Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane and Io Sky of Damage Control, taking on the Meta 2 of Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, who have really been stepping it up recently. Really, really awesome to see. And the team that I want to see win, which is Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. If they don't put the tag titles on Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, then I have to throw Chelsea Green's name in there, along with Shotzi, along with Jada Parker, along with Mia Yim and Candice LeRae for high stakes runners for if WWE gets a main roster women's mid-card title, the way Kalani Jordan and now Fallon Henley held the North American Women's Championship in NXT, because they've proven they can do it. Look at the fucking roster in NXT. It's great. I'm going for Chelsea and Piper Niven. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson can feud with other people. There was a slight tease of Damage Control at some point or another taking on Julia and Stephanie Vacour, which doesn't hurt my feelings in the slightest, or maybe Zarya and Jordan Grace, but that's getting into NXT territory now. No shade on the Meta 2, no shade on Damage Control. I'd love to see them all get their moments with gold as well. I would love to save Jade Cargill, and I would love to see a little less Bianca Belair on my screen. Also, let the belts breathe. Let the division be a division with legitimate, believable competitors. First step, put it on Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. That's my pitch. That's my take. LA Knight, yeah. Look like a real asshole doing that on camera. Defending his United States Championship against Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. Now, LA Knight, the champion in this championship match, feels like the guest at his own party, does he not? Because the real story is Carmelo Hayes just up from NXT, Andrade just back from the Mud Show, are really, really finding something with this best of however many. It's gone to 7 right now. Technically, 7 didn't have a result. So I guess, even though LA Knight is involved, this title match could be considered Game 7 between the two of them as well. Now, I don't know what you do here, because you don't just have LA Knight cakewalk both of them again. I'm questionable whether LA Knight can go on and still be LA Knight without the belt at this point, because he kind of identifies himself as, shoes of a champion, shades of a champion, and all that kind of stuff. But as much as I'm looking forward to this match, and as much as I'm looking forward to another round of Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes, because I'm sure if one of them wins it, they're still going to fight. It's just going to be over the belt now. It is kind of definitive to have these two guys that have had 7 matches now, and one of them gets a prize, the other one doesn't. Because, as I say, Andrade just came back from the Mud Show, Carmelo Hayes just came up from NXT, so one of them wins, one of them doesn't. Carmelo Hayes wins. Does bringing Andrade back from the Mud Show be considered a failure? If Andrade wins, does Carmelo Hayes' call-up ultimately be labeled a failure? Probably not. But it's the most focused thing either one of these guys has done since they've come back / come up, and LA Knight's not going to lose by losing. Typically, I would say you have to pin the champion to be a believable new champion, but in this case, I think it's the other way around. I think both of these guys want to show LA Knight how meaningless he is in the match, because the issue is between them. And not only are they going to show that he's meaningless by taking the title without pinning him, they're also going to rub it in the opponent's face of, not only can we call this Game 7, I get a prize for winning Game 7. I've used the example a lot, and I haven't used it a lot recently because John Cena is only around sporadically these days. It's like when John Cena held the WWE title at any given point. You could win the WWE title from anybody, and you are the WWE champion. You are the, pun intended, crown jewel of WWE once you've got the WWE championship. Look at Cody Rhodes right now. But because John Cena never lost, like ever hardly, in his reign of, we can say Triple H had a reign of terror, John Cena put him to bed as far as reigns of terror go. If you beat John Cena for the WWE Championship, you are the champion, but that belt was also a symbol of, yeah, they let me beat John Cena. There's a lot of that in here, and Andrade and Carmelo, they want to win that title from each other, and that's why I say LA Knight's kind of inconsequential, but LA Knight is the one bringing the title to the parties. So it's a very, very cool dynamic. None of them are really a good guy. Carmelo's a dick. Andrade, I think, is kind of babyface by default, and LA Knight is a babyface because people like him, not because he does babyface things. I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go with my gut here. I want it to be Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes as a champion in NXT was great. Carmelo Hayes as a champion on the main roster will be great. A little bit less great. Not a great time to be Randy. I mean, it's a great time to be Randy Orton because he's having an awesome run at the moment and not being boring, which he has been in the past. He got himself all jacked after he was away for like a year and a half. They're playing up this storyline right now where Kevin Owens is totally unhinged and Triple H was trying to protect Randy Orton from Kevin Owens. I don't know how much I believe that. It's on Kevin Owens to prove how scary he is on the night. The attack after the pay-per-view, the fan camera footage of Kevin Owens beating the shit out of Cody Rhodes outside his bus because he teamed up with Roman Reigns. I mean, that's going to come around again because Cody Rhodes is going to get involved again by the time we get to War Games, but that's another story for another day. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, it's a stunner versus a KO, or sorry, it's a stunner versus an RKO, I should say. If they want us to believe that Kevin Owens is all of a sudden this great, and I shouldn't say all of a sudden because I'm a Kevin Owens fan, but Kevin Owens has kind of gone all over the map. He's a funny guy, he's a babyface, he's a heel, he's going to stick up for you until he stabs you in the back. If they're going with Kevin Owens as a threat mode right now, he's got to win. And he's got to win on his way to Cody Rhodes. Now, how that works in the long run, I don't really know, because also people want to see Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. I don't know if we get both of those by the time we get to Rumble Chamber Mania season. Apparently, we're getting the Elimination Chamber here in Toronto, so yay us! They were supposed to get it over in the UK, and I think the story goes that talks went sour, and when talks go sour with the UK, the next best thing is Canada, I guess. Speaking of which, I'm going to go to another set of Destiny Wrestling tapings this coming weekend. Among a plethora of awesome Canadian talent, there's also JBL, For Reasons, and Whisper It, Tease It, because it's only been teased online. We might be getting What Culture Wrestling's Simon Miller. I'm going to mark like a child if Simon Miller comes through the curtain at Destiny. I really, really, really am. He's doing good stuff at Progress as well. Sorry, as I scratch my nose, because I'm aware that I'm on camera and that's what people do. But yeah, so probably going to see Simon Miller wrestle in Canada. That's going to be fun. Randy Orton is going to go in there and make Kevin Owens look like $1 million. Kevin Owens is winning. It doesn't make any sense if he doesn't. Same thing goes for Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins just came back. Bronson Reed is on an absolute tear. He's done some really cool shit. He's done all the stunt stuff with Braun Strowman. He put Seth Rollins out with like a bazillion tsunamis. Do it again. Make it a squash. It's not going to hurt Seth Rollins to put over Bronson Reed in a squash. And I don't really have much more to say other than that. Other than the lingering thought in the back of my head, CM Punk's been written off after the Hell in the Cell. Rightfully so. Go and heal up and whatever. But also he doesn't want to participate in the Crown Jewel shows. We'll see how much he sticks to that over time. I'm a Punk guy, but I mean money talks as well. It would be really interesting to see Seth Rollins absolutely get killed by Bronson Reed and then hear some commentary from CM Punk, either on social media or on the next Raw or the next, well, not the next SmackDown, but the next Raw or the next Raw or the next Raw after that. Because what happened? CM Punk basically came out after Hell in the Cell to announce, I'm going to go home, I'm going to heal, I'm going to get my girlfriend some flowers, etc., 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 and the last thing he did was bump shoulders with Seth Rollins and basically passed the Monday Night Raw baton over to Seth Rollins for a little while. So that's got to be cooking for Mania, doesn't it? You guys know what I want. I will say it until it happens. It's the final nail in the coffin. It's the final jab I need at the Mud Show. We need Cody Rhodes and CM Punk for a world title in the main event of WrestleMania, because then wrestling will be complete. It just will. Then you got the Crown Jewel Championship matches. Now, I'm really worried because on Wikipedia here, as I'm totally cheating and I don't have any actual notes myself, it says the inaugural Crown Jewel Championship and Women's Crown Jewel Championship. Now, does that mean they're going to be defended at the next show and the next show and the next show? Because I don't need it. Absolutely not. Those belts are ugly. And this is me. I like some weird wrestling shit. Those belts are gross. The fact that they get carried around to every Raw and every SmackDown in the cases with the armed guards and the gloves and all this type of stuff is weird. And as somebody pointed out the other day on some podcast that I don't remember because I'm a horrible person, we only ever see one belt at a time. So is it just going to be a belt at ringside for both matches? I don't really know. Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, champion versus champion for the Crown Jewel Championship. Liv Morgan took out Rhea Ripley on NXT with the bat shots to the head. They made her look really gruesome to the point where the network was questioning whether they liked it or not. I always say if you're making the network question things, you're probably pushing the right buttons, but at the same time, it's a brand new working relationship with the CW. Let's not rock the boat too quickly. But Rhea Ripley's not going to be a factor because apparently she was written off to go deal with some real life lingering issues. So good wishes to her, of course. Cool to see her on NXT as well, hyping up Zarya, hyping up basically the Women's Avengers team in NXT right now because goddamn, have I mentioned the NXT women's roster? Holy shit. So you got to imagine on that side of things that she's really not going to play a factor. Nobody else has really been chasing Liv that much on Raw. Everybody's chasing Nia Jax on SmackDown, though. You've got Tiffany Stratton with the Money in the Bank briefcase. You've got Naomi, who's still a thing, unfortunately. You got Bayley, who's really, really deserving, needs to stay in the mix as well. So all the fuckery in this match is going to be in Liv Morgan's favor. Not because any of these people are fans of Liv Morgan, but because they want to get at Nia Jax. Now, somebody said that, or sorry, not somebody, a lot of people have said that Tiffany Stratton cashes in on this tonight. But a few people are starting to wake up to the fact of neither one of these titles are on the line. So you're not pulling a Seth Rollins Heist of the Century, here's a title match, I'm going to insert myself into it. Because Nia Jax's title isn't on the line. Liv Morgan's title is not really on the line. So if she cashes in, is she cashing in to win the Crown Jewel Championship? Tiffany Stratton walking out with the Crown Jewel title because champion Liv Morgan and champion Nia Jax had a match and the winner was Tiffany Stratton would make me howl with laughter, and how. Now, would that be counteracted by somebody like Bayley? Would that be counteracted by somebody like Naomi? They don't like Tiffany Stratton, but are they going to stop Tiffany Stratton from fucking with Nia Jax? There's a whole lot you can play around with there. I don't think this match has a finish. I think there's a cash-in, and there's fuckery about. Nobody's losing their titles because their titles aren't on the line, and the belt that is on the line won't matter literally the next day. I really don't know what to say about this. I really don't. It's heel versus heel as well, so all the bad people interfering would be baby faces. It would be a face turn for Tiffany Stratton. Bayley's a babyface, one of the best babyfaces they have. Some people seem to like Naomi. It's fine. Shout out to Ringside or Anthony. I'm sure he's happy with all of this, even if he's even watching. But yeah, it's going to be a mess. I predict this one to be a mess. And the other match, which I'm predicting is going to be the main event, if it's not the Bloodline stuff, is Cody versus Gunther for the other Crown Jewel Championship. Now, I'm with people that are pissed off that this match that has been teased at 2 Royal Rumbles now is happening at Crown Jewel and not happening at WrestleMania. I'm with you 100%. At the same time, the match is going to fucking rule. The match is going to fucking rule. Ludwig Kaiser is going to be in Gunther's corner, and he's going to get taken out quickly by somebody. Kevin Owens might come to fuck over Cody Rhodes. Goldberg might be there. Goldberg's kid with the t-shirt might come and do something. Make this match silly so when this match happens properly, we can still enjoy it properly. I mean, Cody's not winning that belt. Is he? This is not a dig, but if you look at Gunther, you look at Cody. Cody's not a huge guy. He's not a small guy. He's not a pipsqueak or anything like that. He's not what people wrongly accuse Adam Cole of being because they're dicks and don't understand that real life is a thing. But he's smaller than Gunther. And the thing about these gaudy crown jewel belts is that they're fucking massive. Not only are they ugly, they're ugly, they're financially ugly, like, oh my god, that's gaudy, and there's the stuff behind it. I said, at Bad Blood, we introduced the Saudi blood money titles at Bad Blood, and the more you think about that shitty joke, the more shitty it is. But if there's somebody that fits this gaudy, ostentatious, very ornate championship, taking out why it exists, it's Gunther. So give Gunther the win, because Cody Rhodes is going to be WWE's main character for a lot longer, and it's not quite going to be Gunther. They're not going to pull Gunther out from under this. This is the secondary world title thing. Seth Rollins tried his best to make that belt not a secondary world title. He made a hell of a run at it. Damian Priest is a weird one because he got way more over after he dropped the title. But I think that was more so because that was the same moment that he left the Judgment Day to go out on his own. Plus him and Rhea Ripley and Jey Uso are ridiculously fucking over. So just, yeah, that's a thing. I'm talking around these two titles because I don't want to flub off the matches, because I think both of the matches are going to be fun for different reasons. But the people that are getting so upset about these matches are for belts that won't matter the next day. Have we seen Braun Strowman's Greatest Royal Rumble green monstrosity snot belt? No, we haven't. We're not going to see these either. The fact that they're listed as inaugural in Wikipedia kind of gives me pause, but not really. Gunther versus Cody is never going to be a bad match. You throw Kevin Owens in there, maybe throw Randy Orton in there, maybe throw Ludwig Kaiser in there, Goldberg, I'll just laugh, because that's what it'll be at that point. Because if we're going to get Goldberg versus Gunther at some point, then just do it. Just do it. I mentioned Simon Miller before. I'm going to take his mentality on a match like that. I'm going to be dead soon. I'm going to be dead one day, probably sooner than later if a couple people get their way. Give me Gunther versus Goldberg while we can. We talked about the NXT ECW show that's coming up next week, and the fact that that building, that 2300 arena, is just as associated with TNA for me because I never watched ECW back in the day. And there's a couple more TNA cameos that I'd like to see rather than ECW cameos because a lot of those people are past their prime, respectfully. So yeah, when you keep stuff like that in mind, if you've got Goldberg versus Gunther on your bucket list, just do it. I'm going to be dead one day. I'm going to steal that one from Simon Miller. He doesn't know that I exist, which is entirely fine. But yeah, I'm going to be dead one day. Give me Gunther versus Goldberg. It's fine. Cody ain't winning this. There's going to be some shenanigans. Even if the shenanigans are in his favor, I still think Gunther wins. I don't even really know how that makes sense as it's coming out of my mouth. I don't think anybody wins the Liv Morgan Nia Jax thing. I think there's going to be a cash-in that causes more confusion than it's worth. Seth Rollins is going to make Bronson Reed look like $1 million. Randy Orton is going to do the same thing for Kevin Owens. I really hope Carmelo Hayes leaves as the United States champion. Once again, it's one of those, I wish it wasn't happening in Saudi Arabia, but it is what it is. I really hope Chelsea Green and Piper Niven walk out as the women's tag team champions. And yeah, the Bloodline versus Bloodline is going to be a mess, or the heels are going to win. I don't really know what else there is to say. I hope you guys have tolerated me and my face and the super sexy face and the gimmick hat here, because I don't have a co-host. We've successfully proven why I really do need a co-host. Go shout out Jake DeMarco. Go find him on Twitter, Countdown Ended. Go find his channel, Countdown Ended, because he will be live watching the show that I just previewed. I may or may not hop on with him later on if something spectacular happens. Next week, we will be doing a live review of the NXT 2300 show, and later on in that week, all things being equal, all schedules being back on track, we will come back with an episode of The State of Wrestling, which we haven't done in a while because there's been a lot of shows to preview. I don't know if you've noticed. Anyways, I think I've rambled for quite long enough. Tell me what you think about Crown Jewel down in the box below. As I say, if you're not somebody that watches Crown Jewel, all due respect to you, but I'm pretty sure you haven't watched the vid up until this point. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. This has been your preview. Don't point that way, point that way for Crown Jewel. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.